Hello and welcome. Today we are going to discuss types of data collection instruments. Our agenda here will be to discuss, present and give examples of types of data collection instruments, observation schedules, interview guide, questionnaire and methods of administration, rating scales, checklists, and etc. We'll start from this observation schedule. This observation schedule is by which we prepare a template to record our observation of an object or a phenomenon or the behavior of human being or animals. We prepare a template, a checklist, or a schedule to record our observation of human beings or animals in the natural environment, in the natural environment, or simply uh, in artificial environment. So the items to be observed are determined with reference to the nature and objectives of the study. So we prepare these templates, observation schedules, or observation checklists. Checklists based on the objective of the study, based on the nature of our study. And then we just fill in or record what we observe in artificial environment, in artificial field, or in a natural environment. These observation schedules are grouped or categorized into appropriate categories and listed in schedules in order in which the observer would observe them. The schedule must be as devised as to provide required verification in quantifiable data and to avoid selective bias and misinterpretation of observed items. Interview guide is the second one, or interview. It can be face-to-face interview. It can be, there are different interview, telephone interview, face-to-face interview, structured interview, unstructured interview, restricted interview, unrestricted interview. An interview guide contains only the broad topics or areas to be covered in the interview. Interview guides serves as a suggestive reference or prompter, prompter during interview. It aids in focusing attention on salient or major points relating to the study and in securing comparable data in different interviews by the same or different interviewers. So an example of this interview guide is face-to-face interview. You talk to each participant directly. This can be done in participant's home or in a place of employment or in office or any other suitable places. There are types of interview. In structured interview, you ask prepared questions. So in structured interview, there are preset questions or preset questionnaire that you ask your participants face to face. This structured interview is similar to a telephone survey in that you prepare a questionnaire in advance and simply read ordered questions to your participants. An example of this structured interview is, for instance, an interview, a telephone survey or a telephone interview in which you prepare a telephone interview guide. And in face-to-face interview, you prepare face-to-face interview guide based on the objective of your study. In unstructured interview, you have general idea about the issue or to discuss. You have general idea about the issue to discuss. However, you do not have predetermined or preset sequence of questions. Preset sequence of questions. እንግዲህ ሁለት አይነት ኢንተርቪዎች አሉ። የመጀመሪያው ኢንተርቪው ስትራክቸርድ የሆነ ነገር ይዘን የምንጠይቀው ነው ከኦብጀክቲቫችን ጋር ከሪሰርች ኮስችን ጋር ከቶፒካችን ጋር በተመሳሰለ መልኩ ኢንዴፕዝ የሆነ ፕሮብ ያለው የምንመረምርበት የተለያየ ጥያቄ ይዘን እንጠይቀው ነው። ሌላው አንስትራክቸርድ የምንለው ግን አጠቃላይ ሀሳቡ ይኖረንና ግን ፍሪደም አለን የፈለግነውን ለማውራት ሰውየውም የሚጠየቀውም ሰው የፈለገውን ማውራት ፍሪደም ይሰጣል ማለት ነው እዚህ ጋር። The third one is this questionnaire. The first step in designing a questionnaire is to clarify, to clearly define the topic of your study. A clear, concise definition of what you are studying will yield results that can be interpreted unambiguously. It is also important to have clear, precise operational definitions for the attitude or behavior being studied. So the first step in designing questionnaire is to have clear, precise operational definitions. Based on each operational definitions of attitude or behavior you are studying, you develop questionnaire or questionnaire items. Behaviors and attitudes that are not defined precisely will result in confusing and difficult items, which which puts the result of the study into question, and which results in invalid and unreliable data, resulting in failed studies. So there are three types of questions in a questionnaire. The first one is these open-ended items or open-ended questionnaire. When we say open-ended questionnaire, it is a questionnaire containing items which are open-ended that allow the participant to respond in his or her own words. For instance, an example of this open-ended item is, how often did you use the internet to get political news for the 2008 presidential election? And the second type of this questionnaire is restricted item or closed-ended item. This kind of questionnaire provides a limited number of specific response alternatives or options. An example of this restricted type of or closed-ended type of item in a questionnaire is, how often did you use the internet to get political news during the 2008 presidential election campaign? So the answer ranges from very often, sometimes scored as 3, not too often, and never. The third type of questionnaire is partially open-ended items or partially open-ended questionnaire. It resembles the restricted item but provide additional other categories and an opportunity to give an answer not listed among specific alternatives. An example of this partially open-ended item is, for instance, this: in what capacity did you most use the internet during the 2008 presidential election campaign? uh, Post political content online, engage politically on an online social network, share political videos, pictures, or audio content, sign up for online political updates, donate money online, other specify other. So 1 up to 5, the listed numbers options are restricted, but the sixth one is open-ended. We call this partially open-ended. So methods of administering questionnaire includes there are these mail surveys or questionnaire. ሜል ስንል ኢሜይል እንዳይመስላችሁ ፖስታ ማለት ነው። በፖስታ ልከን እንዲሞሉት ማድረግ እንችላለን questionnaire-ን. In a mail survey or postal survey, you mail your questionnaire directly to your participants' PO box address, and then they complete and return the questionnaire at their leisure. This is rather convenient method. All you need to do is to put your questionnaire into addressed envelopes and mail them. However, a serious problem could called this non-response bias occurs when a large proportion of participants fail to complete and return your questionnaire. So sometimes high non-response may be documented in mailed or postal questionnaire. The second one is this internet surveys. An increasingly popular method of administering questionnaire is to post them on the internet. For instance, in Facebook, you can post your questionnaire on Facebook. It can be distributed through email or list servers or posted on a website. Which method you depends, which method you use depends on the nature and purpose of the study. The third one is telephone survey. In telephone survey, you contact participants by telephone rather than by mail or through the internet. You can ask some questions more easily over the telephone than you can in written form. Telephone surveys can be done by using an interviewer ask respondents a series of questions or interactive voice response or through the telephone. Interactive voice response or IVR surveys involve respondents using touch or telephone to respond to a series of pre-recorded questions. Modern IVR technologies also allow respondents to provide verbal answers in addition to numeric responses. The fourth one is group administered surveys. Sometimes you may have at your disposal a large group of individuals to whom you can administer a questionnaire. In such cases, you design your questionnaire as you would for mail or for postal survey, but administered to assembled groups. So group administered surveys are surveys conducted in the classroom or in other group settings. For example, you may distribute a first year college class a questionnaire on attitude towards premarital sex. So this is an example of group administered surveys. Collecting data on attitude towards premarital sex on or among a first year college class using a questionnaire. Rating scales. This is recorded form used for measuring individuals' attitudes, aspirations, behaviors, other psychological and behavioral aspects, and group behavior. A variation on restricted question uses a rating scale rather than response alternatives. So there are two types of this rating scale. One is the response alternative. The other is rating scales. A rating scale provides a graded response to question. An example is how much confidence do you have that the political news you obtained from the internet during the 2000 presidential campaign was accurate. So it starts from what? One, none, no confidence, 10, a lot of confidence. So this is a rating scale rather than this optional or alternate response alternatives. So a Likert scale provides a series of statements to which participants can indicate the degree of agreement or disagreement. An example of formatting a Likert scale item, for instance, can be the attitude statement may be followed by 5 blank spaces labeled from strongly agree to strongly disagree. So an example of this Likert scale or rating scale type of data collection is this strongly agree to strongly disagree type of Likert scale. The fifth one is checklist. Checklist is a prepared list of items pertinent or important related to an object or a particular task. The presence or absence of each item may be indicated by checking yes. For instance, if a behavior is absent, we record no. If the behavior is present, we record yes. So there are different types of checklists. One of these checklists can be, for instance, observation checklist. የምናየው ነገር ካለ አዎ አለ ብለን ቼክ እናደርጋለን። ከሌለ ደግሞ ኤክስ እናደርጋለን። This is checklist. The use of a checklist. So a checklist is simply a prepared list of items related associated with the objective of your study or the objective of your experiment. The use of a checklist ensures a complete picture, a more complete uh, consideration of all aspects of the object, act, or task. Checklists contain terms which respondents understand and which more briefly and succinctly express its views than answers to open-ended questions. So focus group is the sixth one. Focus groups are a gathering of these 8 to 12 people who share some characteristics relevant to the evaluation. The hallmark of focus group or FGD is the explicit use of group interaction to generate data and insight that would be unlikely to emerge otherwise. The technique inherently allows observation of group dynamics, discussion, first-hand insights into the respondent's behavior, attitude, and language. The seventh one is these tests. Tests provide a way to assess subjects' knowledge and capacity to apply this knowledge to new situations. Tests, for instance, take many forms. They may require respondents to choose among alternatives. For instance, select correct answer, select an incorrect answer, select the best answer, select the correct answer, select an incorrect answer, select the best answer. To cluster choices into like groups to produce short answers or write extended essays or essay responses. A question may address a single outcome of interest or lead to questions involving a number of outcome areas. አምሳሌ ቴስት ስንል true false item, multiple choice item, essay item, short answer item እነዚህ ቴስት የምንላቸው ናቸው። The eighth one is this document studies. Existing records often provide insight into a setting or a setting and or group of people that cannot be observed or noted in another way. This information can be found in document form. Document studies የምንላቸው archival studies የምንላቸው ናቸው። Lincoln and Guba defined document as any written or recorded material not prepared for the purpose of the evaluation or the request of the inquirer. So any written record or letter or document can be called document study or archival study. In archival study, documents can be divided into two major categories: public records, personal documents. So thank you.